Good evening. Welcome to the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum for the 3rd Magisterial District primary election on May 22nd, 2018. These forums are being provided as a public service to help us make the best possible selection for who will represent us in this elected office. So I'd like to thank our sponsors, the Frankfort Plant Board and the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce. I'd also like to thank our panelists. We are having Steve Stewart, publisher of the Frankfort State Journal, and Kathy Lindsay, the Public Information Coordinator for Cable 10 of the Frankfort Plant Board. Each of our candidates will have an opportunity to provide an opening statement. They'll answer every question and provide a closing statement asking for your vote. Every candidate will be allotted 45 seconds to answer the question posed to them, and each candidate also has one wild card that they can use. They'll raise their hand, and they will be given an additional 30 seconds to either extend that answer or rebut another candidate's statement. And any unused wild card can be added to the time available for the closing statement. Now, I'm going to try to facilitate this event, and we're going to begin right now with opening statements. And was it determined that indeed Bo Sutherland goes first? Excellent. James Bo Sutherland will do his opening statement at this point.
Hello. First off, I'd like to thank the Frankfort Plant Board and the Chamber of Commerce for putting this on for us. And for the people out there, my name is James Bo Sutherland. There was an issue on how I should put that on the ballot. I went with my legal name and my nickname that everybody pretty much knows me about. I was born and raised right here in Franklin County all my life. I was raised out in Ball Knob, went to Ball Knob School, Old Elkhorn, New Elkhorn, Hearn, New Hearn, all of them. But I'm the youngest of 4. My parents, my deceased parents, James and Mary Sutherland. Mom always said, you will always be my baby, no matter how old. I've got 2 daughters. 19, she just turned 19. She's at Richmond. She's not here with us tonight. She's in college. And then I have a 9-year-old, my wife, Barbara, who I've been married to for 27 years. And, stop. Oops. I forgot to look at her.
Go right ahead.
All right.
Michael Mueller is going to give an opening statement at this point.
Thank you very much. And I would like to thank everybody for being here, the State Journal, Cable, Chamber of Commerce, for giving us this opportunity tonight. So my name's Michael Mueller. My wife and I, Andrea, own Inside Out Design. It's a local design build firm. We employ about 18 full-time employees year-round here in Franklin County. About 5 years ago, I really started getting involved with Leadership Frankfort, and then I took Leadership Central Kentucky, and knew that I wanted to help this community because I see the potential. You know, Franklin County is a wonderful place, and I just want to do the most that I can for this town. So the best way I figured to do that would be to get involved as a magistrate. So that's why I'm up here tonight. Also want to mention main reason I'm looking to take on the magistrate is because of my 2 children, Joel and Vance. So hopefully we can make Franklin County a better place to live.
Excellent. We'll now present the questions. Who'd like? Steve, are you going to present the first question?
Good evening. Major employers in the community say they're having trouble filling their existing jobs, and our economic developers tell us that the availability of skilled labor is a major obstacle for them in recruiting new jobs to this community. What can local governments do to make the workforce bigger and better qualified?
Well, first, I think we have to look at the I'm kind of confused here. The Bluegrass Technical Community College, and try to get them to recruit and to improve the overall skills for the jobs that could come in. That's all. I mean, that's pretty much all we could do. I mean, all we can do is just hope that, you know, we can get the training for the younger generation to be prepared for them to come for the jobs that are coming.
Michael?
Okay. As a business owner, we deal with this on a daily basis. Everybody knows personnel is the hardest thing to come by, and reliable people that can pass drug tests, things like that. The factories are doing a good job as far as building their own schools, recruiting them, taking them from high school and putting them into factories, and I understand that, but I think there's a big void for educated vocational students. I think Franklin County is doing a wonderful job with the tech program out there as far as training people to go into the industries that we need filled. So I do think the county can help with the school systems to work together to try to pull some more educated, you know, kids in to the industries.
Kathy, do you have a question?
I do. Tonight I'm going to be asking questions that have been submitted by the public. And so the first one I'll address to you, Michael. What is the most pressing issue for residents in your district, and if elected, how would you address them?
Okay, so I'm running for District 3 Magistrate. You know, I've been going around talking to a lot of people over the last 2 months, and it's been really interesting. You know, some people aren't happy because the sidewalks aren't complete, or the sidewalks on one side of the road and not the other. There's a couple streets where people are having problems with road traffic cutting through and roads not being finished. So, you know, I don't know if there's one specific topic. You know, I'm looking forward to the next month talking to the rest of my district to see what the most pressing problems are, and then bringing those to the fiscal court.
Thank you. Bo?
The number one issue that I've talked to is blacktop. Why has this road been blacktop twice and mine hasn't? Right now it's roads. I haven't heard much on anything else. It's other than maybe the speeding on some of these roads, the cut-throughs like Michael talked about, particularly 1685 has been brought up, has been an issue. But basically roads and school safety.
Steve, do you have a question?
I do. Local government's pension contributions will rise substantially starting this coming fiscal year and then continuing for the foreseeable future. What specific fiscal policies would you support to offset that expense?
Well, I've done some math, and with my math, it looks like we're going to have to come up with somewhere between $220,000 to $240,000 of new money. Question is, how do we get it? I believe that we could probably cut enough across the board, maybe minus, fire safety and the sheriff's office, but I believe we could cut across if we just done a complete reduction in trying to get our get our overhead lowered in physical government. I believe there's enough money there to get it to what we have to owe in new money.
Michael?
I believe the big answer is economic development. At the end of the day, nobody wants to raise taxes, and that's the last thing I want to do. The budget's tight. I've been to many fiscal court meetings, and there's never enough money right now. So I don't know if we can shave anything off anywhere. So my answer is going to be, let's really concentrate on this town and developing it to what its potential can be.
Can I have a follow-up on that, Janet?
Go right ahead.
I'd like to ask both of you if under any circumstances you would raise the tax rate to offset the increased pension cost.
My question is no, and the reason being, of all the surrounding counties that touch our county, we are the highest taxed real estate within the 7 counties. We pay 18.1%. Shelby County, 10.9, Henry County, 11.7, Owen County, 12.2, Scott, 6.6, Woodford, 7.0, Anderson, 13. No, I will not raise your property taxes.
Michael?
I would agree with Bo there. I have no intention of raising taxes. I think we're having a hard enough time getting people to move to Franklin County. We have the whole issue with the state workers that are living in the surrounding counties and commuting. I think we need to figure a better way to get those people to stay in Frankfort and with their families. So I'm against raising the property tax. Steve?
Kathy, do you have a question?
I do, and this is kind of a good follow-up to that. Recently, at various on-the-table events, the discussion revolved around the lack of growth in our community. In fact, several of the candidates, magistrate candidates in general, have commented on the stagnant population growth and that Frankfort needs a positive change to spur growth. What ideas do you have, or what policies do you think need to be implemented to bring about this positive change? And we'll start with you, Bo.
One, I think healing. Right now, I don't think a business, if they're reading anything in the local paper or seeing it online, if we don't heal, it's not going to be good. Infrastructure. I personally believe we need more ambulances. You've got to have infrastructure before you can ask, for new businesses to come in. So, you got to be prepared so when they do get here, you're not rushing to catch up to them. We're already there.
Michael?
Would you please repeat the question?
Sure, absolutely. Recently, at various on-the-table events, the discussion revolved around the lack of growth in our community. In fact, several of the candidates for magistrate have commented previously on the stagnant population growth and that Frankfort needs a positive change. What do you think that positive change should look like, and what are your ideas to spur growth in our community?
One thing I don't want to do is more sprawl. Our town since World War II has only doubled in population, but we have expanded 13 times. We keep going outwards. I think there's a lot of truth to growing within. I believe we need to get more people here. I'm not saying raise taxes, but if we get more people, we're going to generate more taxes, more money, things like that. So that's probably where I'm at with that.
Thank you.
Steve, do you have a question?
If the decision were yours alone, how would the land left vacant by destruction of the Frankfort Convention Center be redeveloped?
Michael, would you answer first, please?
That'd be fine. So the redevelopment of downtown is very important. I think the state has already stated that they are going to build a 1,500 office building and a parking structure. I believe it's going to leave about 7 acres of taxable land for us to work with. So I think it's coming down to the community. I think obviously we need people. We need different things down there. We need businesses, but without people, the businesses won't survive. So mixed use. People can say the same thing. Mixed use, people, businesses. We need to really tap into the riverfront too. It's right there in the middle of our town. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to take advantage of that.
Bo?
What I envision, if it was left up to me, I envision a smaller structure than what we had, something that would maybe be a large room that would seat maybe 2,000 or 3,000, and then around it, smaller classrooms to where the conventions could come in and break off into smaller classrooms. If you've got one, based on my experience, if you've got the classrooms to break off into, and then, in the evening, most conventions have a meal. That would be the best, I think, be the best way to go, with maybe a higher ceiling that would, I'm trying. a higher ceiling to where you could maybe even host smaller RV shows. I've stated this on the Cable 10 thing. You have a whole lot more, I think, opportunity to bring in more things that would benefit downtown.
Thank you. Now,
So with these ideas, do you support or oppose the use of public-private partnerships in this development?
Well,
And why?
yes and no. Yes, because the less money it would cost for the city to build and the county to build it, the better off we are. But at the same time, you have to be structured with the how the property tax is going to be collected. P3, I think, you exempt some of the property tax, and the TIF program, I'm definitely not for as of right now, because just from what I know about it.
So the PP3, and I know they just built the building out on the east-west connector. I understand it. I would rather not be that way, but I think unfortunately our community and our state is broke. So I think that's the only way we're going to get building going on down there. To my knowledge, PP3 is all taxable. So I think that's a benefit. I just hope we can find the investors to invest in downtown Frankfort to pull this community together.
thank you. Steve?
Many believe that sewer constraints, or especially in the county, are one of the biggest impediments to significant residential or commercial growth. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment? And if you agree, what steps would you take to improve sewer capacity and quality?
Well, to my knowledge, I think sewer stops at Ravencrest. So we're not even on sewer. And I believe the reason that is I believe that once you start going down and get to the creek, then they've got to cross over the creek. I mean, in our district, we've done without it for this many years. I mean, I'd like to have it, but at the same time, it's a whole lot cheaper for us not to have it as a business.
So as far as sewers outside of town, that's a huge issue. If anybody's ever read the books or followed Strong Towns, it talks about how after World War II, the United States sprawled, and now we can't afford all the infrastructures and the sewers and the roads outside of town. We just keep going farther out. So I'm all about infilling. I know the sewers are a problem out there, but I do believe in Franklin County, we have a lot of areas and a lot of vacant buildings that I would love to see industry and things go into. So I still think there's enough room within without going out too far.
Thank you. I believe we have time for one more question.
Do you want to go?
No?
Okay. What are 2 achievable goals you would champion in your term?
2 achievable goals. One of my main focus, and I guess it's because I'm a business owner, is I would love to see a vision, a business plan. With our company, we have a 1, 3, 5, 10 years. We have goals, and it could be financial goals, it could be projects, things like that. So I would love to see some goals like that set for the fiscal court. Some other things I would love to see is communication. Communication between the city, the county, Carmen looking at my card here, and I think communication is crucial. If we have a breakdown in our company, it's because lack of communication. And the more I talk to people in the community, they don't know a lot of what's going on. The fiscal court meetings, they're talking about energetic things about Lakeview Park, and they're looking at building new things. And when I tell people this, they're like, wow, really? And so I think if we did a better job communicating with our district, that would help tremendously.
It's going to be time now for our closing statements. And Michael, would you start?
Janet, Bo didn't get to answer that question.
Oh, I am so sorry. I'm losing all track here.
That's okay.
2 things. One would be the completion of the Civic Center, providing the county has the opportunity to coordinate with the city. 2, More ambulances. We have a problem, I believe, with a shortage of ambulances. Again, that falls back in the city because we pay the city for their ambulance service. I definitely believe we need more ambulances, just based on a personal experience of ours. Definitely the convention center. I'd like to see the convention center built first and not tied in with riverfront development or anything, because it has to be, I personally believe it has to be completed, because we've got plans upon plans for the last 20 years of riverfront development.
Now it's time for the closing statements, and I do apologize again. Michael Mueller, would you give your closing statement, please?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a people person. I love listening to people and I love solving problems. That's why I'm sitting here right now. So the reason I'm asking for everybody's vote on May 22nd is because I truly feel like I'm the best candidate with my background, my business experience, that can pull things together with the fiscal court. I think the fiscal court's doing a great job, but there's always room for improvement. And I think with my people skills and my contacts and things like that, I do believe that I'm the best candidate for the position, and I hope that I have everybody's support on May 22nd.
Bo?
I was born and raised here in Franklin County. I've been here, I've worked here all my life. I know where we've been, where we're at, and where I'd like to see us go. I've raised my family here, and I want my children to have the same opportunities that I have. I own Elkhorn Campground along with my sister and my wife. It's been out there since the early 60s. We've taken it. It came in our family in 1987. So, I'm retired from the Legislative Research Commission. So I've still got contacts everywhere. I've worked from local government all the way up to state government. On May 22nd, I would appreciate everybody's vote, and thank you.
I would like to insert a statement on behalf of our third candidate, Fred Deaton. Fred had a family emergency come up just before we started this particular session, and he had to leave. So that's why he has not been up here on the podium to offer you his thoughts on these issues and to issue statements opening and closing. I do want to thank you for being here this evening, for participating in this, and especially for being willing to assume responsibilities that go with this elected office. I want to thank the Frankfort Plant Board and the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce for making this forum possible, and thank you to our panelists. We appreciate you offering your questions. Steve Stewart, who's the publisher of the Frankfort State Journal, and Kathy Lindsay, who is the Public Information Coordinator for the Frankfort Plant Board. And we want to urge all of you to cast your votes on May 22nd and tune in to Cable 10 for the live election returns coverage. And we hope this forum has helped you formulate your ideas about how you will cast those votes. Thank you. Have a great evening and good night.